Hi, I'm Norah O'Donnell, and this is Person to Person. Our guest today is Dolly Parton. Dolly Parton is the queen of country music. A one-name wonder, Dolly has sold over 100 million records and topped the charts in both country and pop music. With more than 5 decades in the spotlight, she's done it all with hit songs like Jolene and Coat of Many Colors. I was rich as I could be in my coat of many colors, working 9 to 5. To classic movies like 9 to 5.
An accident. She was thinking about doing it last night.
Plus a Broadway musical, countless books, and a theme park near her hometown called Dollywood. But she's never forgotten her humble roots. The Tennessee native was born in a one-room cabin in the Smoky Mountains, one of 12 children. And at 77, the blonde bombshell isn't even close to done. She's coming out with her 49th studio album. This one, a rock album, appropriately named Rockstar. She's also giving a close-up look at her incredible clothing and costumes over the decades in a new book, Behind the Seams, My Life in Rhinestones. So we went to Nashville and sat down with Dolly for an intimate, person-to-person conversation. Dolly, it is so wonderful to meet you.
Well, I feel like I know you, but thank you. Same to you.
Oh, thank you. So how did this project, Behind the Scenes, come to be?
Well, it's called Behind the Seams. It's all about my life in rhinestones and all about the clothes that I've worn over 6 decades, going back from when my mom used to make clothes for me all the way up through to when neighbors used to make clothes and different people in Nashville all the way up through Hollywood and some of the finest designers and hairstyles as well. And so that was a clever little title that my niece Rebecca, who's the curator, has helped put it all together. She came up with that title, and I thought, that is so clever, Behind the Seams. Mm-hmm. So in My Life in Rhinestones, so we headed out and did it.
It's been pre-ordered by many people.
Yeah, well, it's a coffee table book, and it's really got laughable things in it. I look at the wigs and some of the clothes I've worn and I laugh out loud, and I tell the stories about where I was and what I was thinking at the time and when I wore it.
I know you say you don't care about fashion. How can that be?
Well, I don't care about following fashion. I've never been one to follow what other people are doing. I see what's going on, but I never could have afforded in those early days. But I just had my own personality, my own thought of who I was and how I wanted to look. I laugh out loud when people say I'm a fashion icon, because I never intended for that to happen. I just kind of dressed the way I dress.
So where did that sense of fashion come from?
I just wanted to be noticed. I tell this story, and it's become like a joke, but it is the honest truth. I patterned my early look after the town tramp in our hometown. She just wore her hair all peroxided and piled on top of her head. She wore red lipstick, eyelashes, long red fingernails, high-heeled shoes, short skirts, and I thought she was the prettiest thing I'd ever seen. That would be so in a little country kid's eyes. So, and everybody would say, oh, she's just trash. And so I thought, well, that's what I'm going to be when I grow up, is trash. I thought that was just a term of how she looked, not what she was. And so I just loved that look of looking cheap and trashy, I guess. And that slogan where I say it costs a lot to look this cheap, there's a lot of truth in that too.
You exude confidence in everything that you do. Do you always feel that way?
Well, I'm confident in myself. I often say I'm comfortable in my own skin no matter how far I've stretched it as the years go by. But I think there's a lot to be said about being comfortable with who you are. Because I don't know how to be anybody else. I don't want to be anybody else. I'm not responsible for anybody else, but I'm responsible for me. But I think there's a lot to be said about self-confidence. I was confident in my talent, and I was confident in who I was as a person. So I've just held on to that.
But a lot of people struggle with that, and I wonder if that's part of your great appeal to so many people.
Well, it might be, but think a lot of my self-confidence too is that I'm grounded in the spirit as well. I grew up in the church, and my grandpa was a preacher. I also got a lot of confidence from that, you know, believing that God loved me no matter what, and that that we're supposed to, you know, to love ourselves and love one another.
When you started out, people told you to tone it down.
Well, a lot of people told me to turn it down and to, you know, to tone it down for sure. But I just knew I felt better in bright colors and shiny clothes and the way that I dress, because I have a, you know, pretty outgoing personality, even though I was more shy and bashful coming out of the mountains, but still I had that fire inside me, that passion that wanted to just be out there and be part of it.
Maybe that's your next song, I Told You So.
That would be a good title, I Told You So.
On that note, one of your first songs, of course, was the hit song Dumb Blonde. And you've never shied away from that self-deprecating humor.
Well, that was my first chart record, but I still, to this day, when I sing that song, I think about the fact that, you know, just because I'm blonde, don't think I'm dumb, because this dumb blonde ain't nobody's fool. And so that was my first chart record, and I was so excited to have a record, and that really started my career. But still, I think about that title and what all that really has meant through the years. Of thinking you're dumb when you know better.
Because you're a brilliant businesswoman.
Well, I don't know how brilliant I am as a businesswoman. I think this is a good way to explain it, that I am a very professional Dolly Parton. I can't tell anybody else how to do it. I just know what I have, and I feel I know what I can do with what I have. And I surround myself with smart people that can handle the stuff that I cannot handle, and to do the things I'm not qualified to do, and I know what those things are.
Behind the scenes is sort of like a walk down memory lane. Do you have a favorite costume? Do you have a favorite memory or a feeling from some of the clothes that you wore?
Yeah, I do. There's many, many of them. I have a feeling about all of them, but three of the things, I guess, that I feel strongest about was when I became a member of the Grand Ole Opry back in 1969. That little outfit meant a lot to me because that was a big occasion. If you can make it to the Grand Ole Opry, you've really made it. So that was my dream as a child, to be a member of the Grand Ole Opry. And then, of course, My Little Coat of Many Colors is a song that's just stood by me and just become so many things. It's created a life of many colors for me, because that little song is so important. And I did a song years ago on the CMA Awards. It was called He's Alive. It was a spiritual song with the choir and everything, and that dress had little built in like wings. When I raised my arms, it felt like wings, but I got so caught up in the spirit on that song. That's such an inspirational, powerful song that when I was singing it, I really just felt like the spirit just kind of fell on me, and it just meant so much. And when I raised my arms, I just felt like I was going to fly away.
How do you practice your spirituality today?
Oh, I live my spirituality, you know. That's how you practice it mostly. You just live it and be it. A lot of people so overthink spirituality, you know, and therefore they think it has to be some big ritual. But the kingdom of heaven is inside. It's right inside of you, and you can draw from that wisdom, whether you call it God or higher wisdom or a higher knowing. There's something bigger than you. I just think you just need to claim it and live it. And you can apply that to whatever you do. I don't think you have to be a saint. I don't think you have to be so strict that you can't have fun. You know, it's all about the intent of your heart.
Now, not just the dresses, but the shoes, the heels. Now, you say they're, comfortable. You've got the most beautiful shoes, and probably more shoes than I've ever seen in my life, and they're all handmade, right?
They are, mostly. I have a few that I find, but who said they're comfortable? Did you just say that?
I think it says in the book that
It does. I'm joking. But I mean, anybody that says, how do you walk in those shoes? I said, very carefully and very often. But I usually have my shoes made, and they do measure your foot, and they build the arch and stuff to where if you're going to be on your feet all the time like me, because I'm not going to be without my high heels. But I have tons of shoes. I've loved shoes since I was little, before I even knew I was going to be short. And love high heels, and since I saw the tramp on the street.
And is it true, do you wear heels at home?
I do. They're not always this high, but I wear some sort of a little heel because I'm short. I can't even reach my cabinets without some sort of a little heel. I do go barefoot. Of course, I do walk around some, but I like to kind of, even around the house, I kind of put my little hair up in a little scrunchie, put a little makeup on. I don't like to be tacky. I never know who's going to come to the door or need something.
So there's no Dolly Parton at home in yoga pants and tennis shoes?
Yeah, if I'm doing yoga, if I'm doing something like that, but not if I'm not.
We all thought that. We've got to imagine how is Dolly at home? She can't always look this great. You sleep in your makeup.
I sleep in my makeup. Especially if I'm in LA because of the earthquakes, and I keep my clothes handy because you never know. Because if it comes an earthquake, you're going to head to the street, and of course the news is going to be out there, and I'm not going to be caught out there with that.
Well, that's making the rest of us feel pretty bad.
Well,
I wear as much makeup as you probably, during the day, and then it takes a couple washcloths to get it off at night. Yeah.
Well, I do that in the morning when I feel better.
Yeah.
I just want to do what I do, and I just do myself the way I do myself. I don't follow no rules with that either.
I feel like I know you so well, having followed you for so many years, but in preparation for this interview, of course, we tried to read everything we could, listen to everything we could. And I read this about you. Dolly Parton's popularity has endured in large part because she is an enigma in plain sight, one of the most scrutinized bodies in the history of modern celebrity, and yet no one can tell you what her forearms look like.
Well, that's not true. There's several pictures of me in that little book, Behind the Scenes, where I have my little sleeveless clothes on. But I'm very fair, and I don't lay in the sun, and I just don't like my arms to show.
Can we just put the rumor to rest that your forearms are covered in tattoos?
Well, I have a few tattoos, but that's mostly to cover some scars and some things that I have, but not on my forearms, But if my tattoos are personal and for reasons, but I'm not a biker chick under there. But that's, but I don't like my arms to show.
So there's no tattoo sleeve under there?
Well, I have a few little things, but not like what you're saying. I have a few bows, a couple little bows right in here, and I got but that's not why I don't show my arms.
Do you consider yourself mysterious?
Well, people find me mysterious because I just tell everything I know. What's the mystery there? I tell everything I feel that the people need to know, and I'm honest in what I say. I just don't always tell everything I know. If you didn't think to ask it, I ain't going to volunteer it. I have to save some for me. It's just like when I pray about my money, I always ask God to give me enough to share and enough to spare, And so that's the same thing with my personality. God give me enough to share with everybody and give me enough to spare. Save some for me. You have to save something for yourself. And so therefore, by doing so, you create a mystery, I guess, because people are always saying that to me. But nobody knows everything about everybody, nor should they.
True. I love how, too, in the book, you spend a lot of time featuring all the people behind the looks, the designers, the hairstylists, the makeup artists, the tailors. Why was that so important?
Well, that was one of the main reasons that I was all up for doing this book, because it has given me a chance to really let the people that put all this together. It's one thing for me to get out there and sell it. I can take me with my personality and all that. But if you don't have the hair you need, if you don't have the clothes that you need, and people have no idea the hours, the endless hours that it takes to do one of these beaded dresses for instance. And so I just wanted to give the hairstylists through the years that have worked on my hair and the people that have worked on my clothes, the designers through the years, and talk about them, and at the same time talk about where I was at that particular time in my life.
We have much more with Dolly Parton when we come back. She talks about her new album, Rockstar. Let's talk about music, because you're one of the most famous country music artists of all time, if not the most famous. And you have done pop, bluegrass, and now a rock album.
I'm a rock star. I laugh out loud at that too, just like I do at the, being a fashion icon. I laugh at that because I have, like you say, I've spent my whole life in country music. My husband is a huge rock and roll fan, and we've been together 60 years in May, but my whole life with him, he's had that rock and roll just blaring as loud as he could get it in the den or in his truck or in the car or wherever. So I'd hear all these songs, and I used to think that I would do a rock album someday, and then the time went on, I started getting older, and I thought, that'd be a joke now, for me to try to be a rock star, at an older age. And then they up and put me in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And I didn't feel like I belonged there because I didn't want to take anything away from the people that had spent their life in rock and roll. And I thought, well, I'm enough like my daddy, Lee Parton, to think if you're going to give me something, I'm going to earn it. And then I thought, well, timing's everything. So I decided I'm going to do that rock and roll album.
Let's talk about World on Fire. That's a political message that I don't always detect from you.
Well, actually, I didn't think of that as political as much as I was thinking of it as trying to save our asses.
Save
our butts. Anyway, that's one of the lines, and one of the things when I said, I talked about, it was more about just all the things that's going on in the whole wide world and what are we doing. But it was just about, what are we doing? What are we thinking? Are we just gonna my mouth's bigger than your mouth? My people are bigger than your people, my daddy's bigger than your daddy, my bomb's bigger than your bomb, until we just blow ourselves plumb out off the face of the earth. So I just felt led to write something, because that's how I do express myself. I'm not political, but I do write, but I do feel it, just like the first line of that says, I'm not one for speaking out much, but that don't mean I don't stay in touch. And so to me, that's more spiritual than it is political. It's just a plea to say, hey, we're just, it's just us. Who are we going to be when we ain't here?
No, it's an incredible gift. I mean, the difficulty of songwriting, and people sometimes take days, weeks, but mostly years, and it's truly your genius.
Oh, I'm not a genius. That just runs in my blood, and I have the gift of rhyme. And so I always make a joke. I say, I've got at least 3,000 songs and 3 good ones. And that's pretty much true.
Do you think you'll ever stop writing songs or retire?
No. I couldn't stop writing songs if I wanted to. That just comes to me as natural as when I'm putting my makeup on. I won't even be thinking I need to. And I'll always keep a notepad or something handy. I'll come up with a title or a line and stuff. So that's natural for me.
Do you have a favorite song that you've written?
Well, I have several favorites. I have some that I like to sing more. Like I Will Always Love You. Any singer likes to have a song that you can really belt it out on and do the low parts and the dynamics of it. But my favorite song, and I've said this from day one, I doubt that I'll ever write one that means more to me personally than The Little Coat of Many Colors. Because that's about family, it's about mama, it's about bullying, it's about acceptance, and it's about, diversity. It's about all the things that really matter, but I didn't know it at the time.
When we come back, we'll talk with Dolly Parton about what's next for the icon. Many people may not know about all your contributions to science. $1 million to help develop the COVID vaccine. Why'd you do that?
Well, at the time that I donated money for the COVID vaccine was when everybody was coming down with this dreadful disease, and everybody was thinking this is like the Black Plague. And I thought, well, I'm going to make a donation because I want to save my own ass as well as anybody else's if I can. But I just thought that it needed, research needed to be done, whatever it was going to be, whether it was going to be a vaccine or a pill or a whatever. I just donated to it just to try to come up with something, some kind of a vaccine for it. So I just felt led to do that, and I follow my heart on it.
And of course, literacy, a cause that is near and dear to your heart. What you've done is incredible.
Well, I've been around a long time, and I used to think, that if I did make it good, if I did prosper the way that I had hoped that I would be willing to give back. I'm always trying to do something to better the world. And I'm as proud of the Imagination Library as anything that I've ever done. And that's where we give books to children from the time they're born. They get a little book a month with their little name on it so they can learn to, to read and love books. And so I'm proud of that program, but I'm proud of anything that I ever do that can help mankind in any way.
You end the book with, watch out, there's a lot more to come. What's next for Dolly Parton?
Well, I never know what's next. I always say that I wake up with new dreams every day, and the people that work around me say, yeah, I know, when your dreams are about to kill us. So that's pretty much how they feel. But I never really know. But there's a few things I still want to do. I want to have a line of cosmetics, and I want to have a line of wigs. I want to do more movies. I got a Broadway musical of my life story that I'm hoping to open in the spring of 25. So I've been working on that for a long time. So anyway, I'm always dreaming. I'm always doing, and I hope to do that till the day I die, which I hope is a long time from now.
Thank you so much, Dolly.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Norah, you're sweet,
Yeah.
and you did a good job.
Thank you very much.